the release of WikiLeaks material allowed us to learn that there were 15,000 more deaths in Iraq at that point than even Iraq body count had been able to tell us about. So just if you think, and you have to remember, of course, the United States and Britain and the allied countries, the people involved in the invasion and occupation of Iraq, never made a body count. That they never had an official body count. So these were the only figures that you could learn from, and they were significantly increased by the material that WikiLeaks released. So if you think that's a worthwhile thing to do, a worthwhile thing to know about, then you should be on Julian Assange's side and not on the side of the people who are trying to prosecute him. And after all, when you come right down to it, if news were only news that was sanctioned by government and corporate bodies, there'd be precious little worth listening to. News is only news. Journalism is only functioning properly when it's telling you things that you wouldn't know otherwise. You know, if it were just what was sanctioned, don't bother buying a newspaper or going online. Just read the press release. Just read the statement given out by the government, given out by the corporation. Just read it on the headed paper. That's all you're going to know. But if you think there might be some more that you ought to know to make a proper judgment about the state of the world and what's going on in it, then you need whistleblowers and you need people who are willing to print what they say. That's only two sources of news, the official version and the rest. And if you haven't got both, you haven't got anything that's remotely near a full picture. So, you know, it seems almost banal to say these things. It seems so basic and elementary when it comes down to it that it didn't ought to need saying at all. And indeed, it didn't need to be said. It didn't ought to be need to be said at all. But that's what's at stake in this case.